Present state of that rift between you, your office and that of the Prime Minister?
Well, I don't know if I spend time thinking about the state of that, my focus is Tobago's development. I am Chief Secretary for the Tobago House of Assembly, and I recognize that the Tobago House of Assembly, Section 27 of Act 40 of 1996, gives the THA exclusive administrative control over several areas listed out in a 5th schedule for execution. Those are my concern.
The Prime Minister seems to suggest that you may have overstepped the boundaries of the Tobago House of Assembly Act in the special sitting of the Tobago House of Assembly held earlier this week.
Well, I could say without fear of contradiction that the Prime Minister does not know what he's talking about. The Prime Minister needs to read the THA Act again. I will advise the minority leader to give him a copy of the standing orders of the THA, and he will see that it is proper and in order. So he needs to read the Act again. If he reads the Act, number one, he will see in Section 70 of the Act the privileges listed out for members of the THA, and not just members, but anyone who participates even in a committee of the THA. And if he reads Standing Orders 9 for the Tobago House of Assembly, he will see the rights, privileges, and responsibilities, the powers rather, of the presiding officer that gives the authority in areas where the standing orders is silent to make a decision, and that decision stands as per her decision. So the Prime Minister, I would say, does not know what he's talking about in that regard.
What was the goal or expectations for that special sitting of the THA?
Well, to be honest, I use the Prime Minister as an example in what he did with Emailgate. The Prime Minister in that now infamous sitting of the Parliament indicated that, look, in the absence of whistleblower legislation, in the absence of protection for people who bring information, and out of an abundance of caution, the Parliament must be used as a safe space by which members can share information that is brought to them. And the Tobago House of Assembly Legislature is, in fact, our Parliament that shares similar privileges. A whistleblower, as it were, brought information to me on 2 occasions, on the 7th of July and then again on the 12th of July. The truth is, initially I disregarded what he brought to me. And I note that the Prime Minister, when he went with Emailgate, said he waited 6 months before taking it to Parliament. I don't think I needed to wait 6 days, because although I was initially disregarding anything, I saying, this guy probably unstable, maybe some of this thing is not true, I don't know if this is a setup, because I live in a space where everybody wants to set up somebody for political gain, and I question whether or not this gentleman was hoping I would offer him inducements and all. I question all of that. But for me, there were 2 intersections that allowed me to make a decision to take it to the House, which was the rightful place to take it. Number one, I had not heard of a name called Weaver Ali until this gentleman brought it to my attention on the 7th of July. And I had to Google the name to see if it was a real name or a made-up name. And I saw a picture on Google. I said, okay, what about this inspector? I said, anyway, I disregarded it, because prior to that time, all I was hearing was about a DCP Simon. In fact, the Minister of National Security said DCP Simon was reporting to him on this matter, which in itself is an illegality. So I heard about a DCP Simon, so I dismissed it. And then he also indicated, the whistleblower indicated to me, he said, look, you are thinking that this might come from some government meeting. It has nothing to do with any meeting of your government. This was a political party meeting. This was a meeting of the NEC, which stands for National Executive Committee of the PDP. So I dismissed it. I said, this is all craziness. However, when I saw the warrants start surfacing, and I saw the production order, I saw 2 intersections. One is that this Weaver Ali person was in fact the person leading the investigation. I did not know that before. And the 2, that they were purporting that this thing was coming from the National Executive Committee of the PDP and not the Executive Council of the Tobago Island government. And at the point of those 2 intersections, I went to the House.